The lunch lady drove a rusted-out Civic, but wore $900 shoes. Everybody at my school had a theory about Mrs. Okafor. She served us rubbery pizza and gray-green beans 5 days a week, and she drove a 1998 Corolla with a bungee cord holding the trunk shut. But her shoes, man, her shoes. Red-bottomed heels, real leather boots that squeaked like money. We were kids, we didn't know brands, but we knew those shoes didn't belong behind a lunch counter. So we made up stories. She robbed a bank, she married a mobster, she won the lottery and was too crazy to quit. Ask her about it and she'd just laugh and say, "Found him at a yard sale, baby." Straight face. Every time. Here's the thing nobody could explain though. She knew stuff. She knew whose parents were splitting up before the kid did. She knew who was coming to school hungry. And when she spotted a hungry one, she had this move. She'd lean over the counter and go, "Oops, made too much again. You'd be doing me a favor." And she'd load up your tray. "Made too much again. Made too much again." I heard it 100 times before it was ever aimed at me. Then, senior year, my dad got laid off, and suddenly I was the kid eating 3 saltines from a Ziploc bag at lunch, trying to look like I wasn't. She clocked it in one day. Next morning, there she was. "Oops, made too much again. Wink, full tray." That went on for months. Then one December, she pulled me aside and asked where I was applying for college. I told her the truth. Nowhere. We couldn't even cover the application fees. She just squeezed my arm and said, "God's got a plan, baby." 3 weeks later, a lawyer called. Anonymous donor. Full ride. Tuition, housing, books, all 4 years. To a school I'd only ever dreamed about. I knew it was her. I ran to that cafeteria and hugged her, and she acted so confused, like I was speaking Russian. "Somebody up there must believe in you," she said. But she was smiling at the green beans when she thought I'd turned around. College came with miracles too. Laptop died, new one appeared. Winter with no coat, a package showed up. I'd call her every time and she'd just say, "Made too much again, huh?" and cackle and hang up. I sent her a card every Christmas for 9 years after I graduated. She always wrote back in that shaky handwriting. Signed every one the same way. "Love, your cafeteria mama." Last month, my mom called me crying. Mrs. Okafor passed in her sleep, 79 years old. I flew back expecting 15 people in a side room. I walked into a church with no empty seats. 200, 300 people, all around my age, all looking around like, "Why are you here?" And then her lawyer stood up at the front holding a folder, and he started to read. She'd been a widow. Her husband died young and left her almost $6 million. She could have gone anywhere, done anything. She chose to serve us green beans. Then the lawyer said she'd left instructions, and one of them was to read a list out loud, a list of every kid she'd quietly put through college. He started reading names, the whole church going quiet, then gasping, as person after person realized, 52 names, and he got to the top of the list, and he stopped, and he looked up, and he found my face in the crowd. And he said Mrs. Okafor had left one more thing, not on the list, a sealed envelope, with my name on it, that she made him swear to hand me in person. He walked it down the aisle and put it in my hands. Heavy, something solid inside, not just paper. I opened it right there, and what was inside made my knees go out from under me. A key, a little brass key, taped to a folded letter, and under the tape, in her handwriting, 3 words, "For the Corolla." I actually laughed, out loud, in a church, at a funeral. Because of course the $6 million woman left me the rusted-out car with the bungee cord on the trunk. It was so her it hurt. People turned around to look at me and I couldn't even explain it. I just held up the key like an idiot and cried and laughed at the same time. I unfolded the letter. Her handwriting got worse toward the end. You could tell she wrote it slow. It said, "Baby, I know you're crying right now, so stop it. The car runs better than it looks, just like most things worth keeping. Drive it home, check the glove box before you sell it, and you better not sell it. Love, your cafeteria mama." Check the glove box. Okay, weird, but okay. After the service, I went out to the parking lot, and there it was, parked in the back corner where it always was. 20 years of the same corner, same rust, same bungee cord. I put the key in the door and it stuck a little, the way it always did, and I remembered being 16 and watching her fight that same door in the rain. I got in, smelled like her, peppermints and coffee. I just sat there for a minute. Then I opened the glove box. It was stuffed, not with papers, with envelopes, dozens of them, rubber banded into a fat brick, and every single one had a name written on the front in her handwriting. I flipped through them, hands shaking. I recognized names, kids from the list, Kids from 20 years of that lunch line. And then I found the ones that weren't from the list. Names I didn't know. Names with dates on them. Recent dates. This year. There was a note rubber banded to the top of the brick. It said, "I ran out of time to send these. You'll know what to do." I opened the first one. Inside was a cashier's check. Already made out, already signed. $8,000. Made out to a girl named Destiny Alvarez. And a sticky note in Mrs. Okafor's writing. Sophomore. Dad's in prison. Sharp as a tack. Hides it. Application fees and a winter coat. Don't let her know it's from a dead lady. It'll spook her. I sat in that car in the funeral parlor parking lot, and I opened every single one. 26 envelopes. 26 kids. 26 checks she'd written out with her failing hand. From her hospital bed, I found out later, because she knew she was running out of time, and she was trying to finish the job. Trying to get to all of them before she went, and she didn't make it. She got to 26, and then she ran out of time, and she left the rest to me. The last envelope in the stack didn't have a kid's name on it. It had mine. Again. Inside was no check. Just a second letter, longer than the first. If you're reading this one, it said, "It means you found the glove box, which means you're already the man I always knew you were, because a lazy man would have sold the car by now. So here's the truth I never told you, baby. You were my first, not the first one I helped. The first one I ever loved like my own. I never had kids. Couldn't. My husband and me, we tried for years and it never happened. And then he died and left me all that money, and I sat in a big empty house with a fortune and no one to give it to. I nearly lost my mind that first year. And then a friend told me the school needed a lunch lady, and I thought, that's a job for a sad old woman. Why not? First week, I saw a little boy split his sandwich in half and hide one half in his backpack. For later, for home. 6 years old, planning his dinner off a school lunch. And something in me woke up. I finally understood what all that money was for. It wasn't for me. It was for the sandwich boy. And every year there was another one. And another. You all became my kids. Every last one of you. I got to be a mother 52 times over, and none of you ever knew you were making an old woman's whole life worth living just by letting me feed you. I had to stop reading. I couldn't see the paper. When I could see again, it went on. Now here's what I need. There's more money, baby. A lot more. The scholarships I set up, those are handled. Lawyers take care of those forever. But the glove box money, the reaching out money, the seeing the kid before anyone else money, that was always just me. My eyes, my hands, and I'm out of both now, so I'm giving you the eyes. The house is yours. The rest of what's in the account is yours, and it is not a small number, and I already know your first thought is that you can't accept it. So let me tell you the same thing I told you at that lunch counter. You'd be doing me a favor. Somebody has to keep making too much food. Somebody has to keep watching the line for the kid with the Ziploc bag. I picked you because you already know exactly what that kid feels like, and a kid can always tell who really knows. Go find the sandwich boys, baby. Every school's got one. Love, your cafeteria mama. I don't remember driving home. I mean that. I got the Corolla back to my hotel and I don't remember a single mile of it. I just remember sitting in the parking lot again, with the engine ticking as it cooled, 26 checks in my lap, and one thought going around and around. She knew. She knew for months she was dying, and instead of being scared, instead of spending her last strength on herself, she spent it writing checks to children she'd never even see grow up. Destiny Alvarez, sharp as a tack, hides it. A winter coat. Don't spook her. I flew home 2 days later. I couldn't fly the Corolla, obviously, so I paid to have it shipped across the country, which cost more than the car was worth, and I could hear her laughing at me the whole time, bungee cord and all. The first thing I did was drive to the county school district office, and I asked how a person goes about delivering 26 checks to 26 specific students without any of them knowing who it came from. The woman at the desk looked at me like I was insane. Then I showed her the checks. Then she got the superintendent. It took 3 weeks to figure out the legal way to do it. Anonymous educational gift fund, routed through the school counselors, no name attached. Destiny Alvarez got her application fees and her winter coat, and she never knew. None of them knew. Just like I never knew, for a whole year, that "made too much again" was a lie a rich woman told so a poor kid could keep his dignity. But I wasn't done, and this is the part I still can't believe I did. I quit my job. I had a good job. Good salary, corner desk, the whole thing. The thing I went to college for, the college she paid for. And I sat in my apartment with her letter, and I read that line again. Go find the sandwich boys, baby. And I called my boss on a Monday morning, and I quit. Because here's what I figured out. She didn't leave me money. Anybody can leave you money. She left me the job, the actual job, the lunch counter, the eyes on the line, and you can't do that job from a corner desk in another state. So I moved back. I bought a little house 10 minutes from my old high school. And I did the thing that I know sounds crazy, the thing my own mother cried about when I told her. I applied to work in the school cafeteria. The same one, the same kitchen. They still had her hairnet hanging on a hook by the walk-in freezer. Nobody'd had the heart to take it down. The manager, this younger guy now, he looked at my resume, my degree, my old job title, and he said, "You're overqualified to serve pizza, man. Way overqualified. Why do you want this?" And I didn't tell him about the $6 million. I didn't tell him about the glove box or the checks or the account with a number in it that I still hadn't touched a cent of for myself. I just said, I heard the last lady who had this job was pretty good at it. Figured I'd try to live up to her. I got the job. First week, I stood behind that counter in a hairnet, 29 years old, spooning gray green beans onto trays, and I watched the line. Really watched it, the way she must have. And you know what? You can see it. Once you know what you're looking for, you can see it so clear it breaks your heart. The kid who takes an extra roll and slides it into his hoodie pocket when he thinks no one's watching. The girl who says she's not that hungry every single day at 11 a.m., which no growing kid on earth actually is. The boy at the end of the line counting change in his palm, doing the math, coming up short. I watched that boy come up short, 13 maybe, trying to look like it was no big deal, stepping out of line, empty tray, and I heard my own voice do it. I didn't even plan it. It just came out of me, in her exact rhythm, like she'd left it inside me on purpose. I leaned over the counter and I said, Hey, come here a second. I messed up the count back here, made way too much today, and it's just gonna go in the trash. You'd honestly be doing me a favor." And I loaded up his tray. He looked at me for a second, this flicker of something, that same thing I must have had at his age. The, does he know? Is he pitying me? Is this real? Look. And I just held his eyes and gave him the wink she used to give me. Easy, like it was nothing. Like it really was just extra food going to waste. And he took the tray, and he ate, and I turned around to the counter so he wouldn't see my face, the exact way she used to turn around to the green beans. Made too much again. I keep the Corolla in the school parking lot, back corner. Same corner it lived in for 20 years. Bungee cord still on the trunk, because I will never fix it, because fixing it would be missing the entire point. And on my very first payday from the cafeteria, this laughable little check that wouldn't cover a tank of gas, I did something with it. I drove to the mall, and I walked into a store I had absolutely no business walking into, and I bought myself the most ridiculous, expensive, red-bottomed pair of dress shoes you have ever seen in your life. $900 on a cafeteria salary. It's insane. It makes no sense at all. I wear them behind the counter every single day. And when the kids ask me why the lunch guy is wearing shoes that cost more than a car, I look them dead in the eye, straight face, and I tell them the truth she taught me. Found 'em at a yard sale, baby.